It's time for our Game of the Week announcement for Week 2. Now, last week, we had Longview and Lufkin in our Game of the Week, where the Lobos knocked off the Panthers 41-16. This week's Game of the Week, we have the Garrison Bulldogs traveling down to ARP to take on the ARP Tigers. Last year, Garrison beat ARP 27-26 in a very tightly contested ball game. Let's hear from Garrison head football coach Brandon Alvarez ahead of this week's matchup.
Brandon Alvarez. Coach, how are we doing today?
Oh, pretty good. It's always fun when you get to practice on a holiday. This first one, Labor Day, is always fun. You get the kids here. You get to practice a little earlier when it's a little cooler, and the kids are flying around feeling good. And just kind of remind the kids, hey, uh, practice on holidays is fun. Let's make sure we get to practice on Thanksgiving, hopefully.
Yeah, there you go. That's the better holiday to practice on for
Mhm.
sure. Well, let's talk about last Thursday, week 1. You played Wascom, won 39-19. It was a really good game for y'all. Last year, they knocked you out of the playoffs, so a little bit of revenge right there. But what was the mindset going into that game on Thursday, and then what did you think about it? Obviously, coming out there with a 20-point win.
Well, I mean, if you told me we are going to win by 20 before the game, I would have called you a liar. And I still believe the game was closer than what the score said. I didn't feel safe till the end of the game when we get that last stop, and we got to nail it out just because they're so dangerous of a football team. The mindset that we put on the guys all week, you know, excuse me, those first two scrimmages we played against, we had Beckville and West Russ, and West Russ is really good, and they kind of came out there and they put it on us. And after that, we had to kind of go back to the basics. Try to figure out how to become more aggressive, stay low, come off the ball, and execute. And that was the whole deal. Like we told the kids, if you come off the ball and we execute, everything's going to be fine. Just trust your rules, do what you're supposed to do, and I mean, execution is the main thing. And this year, I mean, I think the key difference between this year and last year is the offensive line and the quarterback. Our quarterback, this is his second year doing it, and how our offense is, you can only do what the quarterback allows you to do. So with him being a year older in the system, we can just do so much more as a team. And then the offensive line, last year we only had two guys that ever played on a Friday night before, starting for us on the offensive line. And this year we only got one guy that hasn't played in a Friday night game. Now they've not all started, but we got one guy that hasn't played, and just that extra experience there, I thought really allowed us to kind of move the ball against those guys and helped us out a lot.
Well, then, I mean, you said it too, didn't it? If you thought that if somebody would have told you that you were going to have a 20-point win over Wascom, you wouldn't have believed them. So how much confidence does that give you and the kids moving forward to be able to beat a good Wascom team like that?
Well, I don't know if you say it gives us confidence. I mean, it should give us a little confidence, but you look at our schedule, our pre-district schedule. Every game's a tough game. I tell the kids enjoy it. Don't take a win for granted, and come to work Monday prepared. And that's what they did. They showed up today prepared to work, and we worked because ARP's supposed to be pretty good also.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to talk about the ARP game coming up this Friday. But before we talk about that, take me back to last year. It was a 1-point win for Garrison, 27-26 over ARP. So tell me a little bit about last year's game and how that one went.
So last year, it goes back to that was the first game our quarterback had ever started. We actually had a different quarterback start against Wascom, and he broke his shoulder. So, and we had another guy who was supposed to be quarterback that moved away. So we kind of threw Riley to the fire that game, and it was, it felt like we were kind of limited on what we could do because we're trying to protect him a little bit by not doing too much where he was going to make mistakes. And he did a good job. He didn't make any mistakes, but we had a very, very simple game plan last year. And, the 1-point victory on that, I mean, they're a good football team. And there were several times in that game where, we turned the ball over. One time we turned the ball over going into the end zone about a score, which you let those guys hang around. I mean, they can beat you.
Well, let's talk about this Friday. ARP coming off a big win over Harleton, 49-0. So what have you seen on film from ARP, and what is it going to take Friday to go out there and get a win for you?
A lot of it's going to be execution, doing your job. They're big. This might be the biggest they've ever been up front. They're pretty skilled. They fly to the football on defense and offense. They all execute very well. I mean, they are a good football team. So we got to make sure that we do our job and we don't turn the ball over, keep mistakes to a minimum. If we do all that, I mean, we'll have a chance to have a really good game.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it. It's our game of the week, so we'll see you Friday night over in ARP, and we'll talk to you then.
Oh, yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
And now let's hear from ARP head coach Wes Schminke as he gets ready for this week's game against Garrison.
Wes Schminke here, the head coach of the ARP Tigers. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing all right.
Good, good. Well, let's talk a little bit about ARP's big win over Harleton this past week, 49-0, a great performance by the defense. What did you see Friday night that you liked from your ARP Tigers?
Oh man, well, like I said, we took the ball away from them multiple times, and we kept control of the football there. So that's one of the things we preach about. If we take the ball away from them and then we don't turn it over, we got a good chance to win the game.
With the expectations coming into this year, was that kind of what you envisioned going into week one against Harleton, a 49-0 win, or what were your thoughts as you headed into the season?
I mean, we got a lot of kids back with experience. So a lot of kids we got been playing since they've been sophomores, and so we expect potential's there for us to be a pretty good football team. And then I mean, as far as predicting scores, I can't don't predict scores or anything like that. We want to go out each week and try to be the best we can each game we go play.
Well, let's talk about this game this week. You got the Garrison Bulldogs coming to town. I know last year it was a 27-26 game where Garrison won. So this year, going into this game, what have you seen on film from Garrison, and what's it going to take for ARP to get a win Friday night?
Well, they're a typical Garrison team. They play physical football. Coach Alvarez his staff do a good job of coaching those kids over there. They've been pretty good for quite a while over there now. And they got a pretty good football team again this year.
Well, and the atmosphere Friday night, what are you expecting the atmosphere Friday night to be like with a big game like that in town?
I'll be pretty good. I mean, they got a pretty good football team, and I think we got a pretty good football team ourselves this year. And our kids are excited to play on their home field first time this season, and I think it's gonna be a good game.
All right, Coach, we're looking forward to it. We'll be there Friday night for the game of the week festivities, so we will talk to you then.
All right, thanks a lot.